is.
No, but what's your last name?
Mandel?
You
What?
Mandel?
Oh, okay.
you wanted it to be special.
My name's
Nova Special?
Nova special. I don't know. Like there's like Nova specials, right?
I don't know. My name's already Nova. Like, I'm identifiable. If somebody actually knows me or is in my life, they'll be like, that's Nova. That's not, they're not going to be like, that's a different John or whatever. Like, it's not like the Mandel gives me away. Not that I'd care.
There's a Nova special that I can never watch because my dogs won't allow me. And it's about
They
dogs.
freak out too much.
It's the one about dogs.
I don't think I've ever seen an episode of Nova. Except I remember one time in science class, they were like, let's put on a movie. So they put on Nova. So then it was like the big logo flashed on the screen, Nova, and then like big dramatic music, and everyone was like, yeah!
We get to make out.
That was kind of fun. What? Wait, what'd you say?
I didn't hear.
I didn't hear.
It's cool.
I love Nova. I watch it all the time.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, didn't you ask me to talk about how I mean, we can talk about anything you want, but...
moving forward with
Well,
the
I
show.
think she was going to eulogize John McCain, right?
No. Yeah, I just you listen to the show. You know, like what's my job? What am I supposed to do?
I think it's the same from that it's always been. I mean, maybe it's been different in your head, but it's always like kind of seemed the same of, well, you can have a lot of internal things going on and then we kind of get the same results at the end or whatever. You just, you come out and you talk and then it's like, it's your show. You have Spencer and you have Jeff and now you have Schraub and hey.
Can I ask you a question?
Okay.
When is he doing it right?
Well, I don't know.
When you're listening to it, you're like, oh yeah, this is he's
well,
doing it
Harmontown
right.
is Harmontown. Like, there's like, if you're talking about like your dog door or whatever, like I might think it's hilarious, and then somebody else might be like, eh, and then you might be talking about a drink you had, and then someone else might think it's hilarious. And I might be like, eh, but I always love the show because if I don't get people who are like, I hate every episode except these kinds of episodes. Like,
right.
I mean, if you're like that, fine, be picky with your stuff. But for me,
No,
it's
don't.
just. But for me, it's just like I love Harmontown, and I probably wouldn't listen to it if I didn't always really like it. And I don't know. I'm really like you talk a lot about how special it was at like the Meltdown and stuff, and. Like I'm like sad that I never got to go there because I was like listening to every single episode through and I was like, when I catch up I'll go, and then you guys had lost
baby.
Starburns. What was that?
No, that's just so sad. That's sad that there's already a post meltdown generation. That's so sad. Like, are you gonna stab your parents? Like it's
No,
a whole
I've
generation born.
Are
of
you
it.
gonna stab your parents?
No, I've always been happy just to listen to the show,
wait.
but
Are you sure?
yeah,
Okay.
I'm sure.
Are you
Okay.
gonna weaponize your tiny Rick and Morty backpack?
Fill it with rocks.
That could be something.
That was too ready an answer.
That was.
I just saw it and I just thought rocks.
Yeah, but I like that you went Stone Age on that. That's great. Fantastic.
I don't want to fill it with knives or something. Just rocks. That's fine. Yeah, I mean, every time I
The exits are two to the right. There's one to the right.
I don't know. I'll just talk about like since I've been coming here and stuff. Like, yeah, I caught up with all the episodes and I was like, oh, they don't have a theater. And then I kept thinking like, please don't end, please don't end, please don't end if they can't find a theater or whatever. And you guys came here and I was so happy. And then every single time I'm like, I hope he's not like I'm gonna end the show. I hope he's not like I'm gonna end the show.
Hope he's not gonna what?
End the show.
Oh, end the show. Oh God, I don't want to hold people hostage with that. That's awful. Like
No.
that would be a horrible archetype.
No,
to
no,
be.
no,
Hey, maybe I'll end the show. What
No,
do you
no,
think?
no, I don't feel that way at all. No, I mean, I blow things up in my head, so I hear like one tone, and I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
is he
Well,
gonna end the
clearly,
show?
I'm participating in that somehow, or you wouldn't be saying that. Yeah, no.
I mean, I guess.
Are you
but-
gonna end the show, Dan?
Let me think about it.
Well, I don't know.
It depends how many people love me.
Yeah.
No, I know. I really don't. That's not my
If
intention.
you clap
No,
loud
I know.
enough, Dan will not end the show. No.
But I mean, every time
Sorry.
But I mean, almost every single week since you started doing the shows here, I come early, so I'm ahead in line, and then I make friends with someone in line, and then some people come back like a lot, and then we sit next to each other during the show, and then You know, I love the show. After listening to the podcast so long, then coming here, like the first couple shows, which is like, just like, I get really excited by things. So I was like completely starstruck, and now I've calmed down a little bit.
Now
so
you're
I'm
over
just
it,
like,
for sure.
no, I'm not over it, sir. I'm just like,
Now you felt the onstage sadness that goes on up here.
no, I'm just like, my excitement levels aren't off the charts. Now I can just actually like enjoy
Yeah.
the show without this.
I kind of
craziness
get
or
it in
whatever.
the sense of like the podcasts that I listen to, some of them I even like Cody and I talk about like very candidly in a way that I wouldn't like, we're hate listening to this podcast. We love this podcast. It's like the lines blur, but the behavior doesn't change, which is something a guy like me would obsess about. Like, wait, am I doing good or bad? You like me or hate me? But it's like a podcast that people are listening to. They're listening to because it's like part of their family, and your
Right.
family. You're like Uncle Henry, like whatever. Like do I admire him? Do I think I should do what he says or anything? It's just sort of like, no, he's Uncle Henry and he's always there. Because I listen to these podcasts that are like sort of, if they experiment too much, I actually get mad at them. And I'm kind of like, oh, this guy always does that. And then I put it on and I'm like, then they do something different. And I'm like, what are you doing? Stop it.
Well, I'm not listening for anything other than just the people that are on the show. You and Spencer and Jeff, and then whoever else might be here, like Rob or Brandon or whatever.
God bless you. God bless you.
I don't need it.
I didn't
don't
mean
need it.
whoever else.
You're doing
I
a
meant
great
like
job.
you guys are the three that are here every week,
Yeah.
and then also there's
We
like
are.
Rob and there's Brandon.
This is exactly what Dan wants to hear. You're doing great.
No, that specific. I was
I
like,
love
do you need
Schraub.
a drink or anything?
I wish. No.
Yeah. Well, I don't.
Would you, can I pour you a drink? You all right? Do you drink? Or you don't get high, but do you drink?
I'm not old
driving?
enough.
Do you pass the popcorn?
Don't give him the popcorn.
I was gonna offer my popcorn because I had about the
hand him
same
the
amount
popcorn.
left. I'm okay, thank you.
No,
I mean,
no,
for
to
sure.
him.
Okay. I don't know. There's not a lot left. Are you sure you want it?
Yes, give it to me. There's not enough left. There's plenty. Look at this.
That's the best
Continue,
stuff.
Dan.
I have to enjoy it really hard out of spite. Yeah.
You get that bottom of the popcorn bag toothbreaker shit.
That's the saltiest stuff.
Yeah.
Don't put it on my bag.
Would you say, though, among your top, if you were to grab a couple words, like an adjective, I present you with a sea of adjectives, and I say, Nova. Nova, pick your, like, here's a handful of adjectives, and you're just grabbing them. Go. I'm like, would you, true or false, like from the Dan Harmon thing, you're like, oh, well, honesty. Like I want honesty. Dan's gonna be honest with me. You're gonna grab honesty, right? Transparency. Don't make a sound. I mean, or do, because I'm transparent and I'll deal with the fucking hurt that you just inflicted on me in real time. When you're like, because you're you're so honest. That person that went, that they're like, well, if he's honest, if he's fuck you, I'm gonna kill myself and mention you in the note. Seat 3H. You don't
been a
even
while
know
since you pulled
that's
that
your
shit.
seat.
You used to say that a lot. Like, I'm gonna write a suicide note. You're gonna be in it. Like, you
It's
used
an
to say
it's an
that more.
awesome fucking burn, isn't it?
It's
I'm gonna kill
hardcore.
myself and mention you in
It
the
goes
note.
hard. It does not go light at
It's
a person.
fucking like baller.
Oh, it's baller.
It's like your version of baller, yeah.
You're
Like
balling out
Harmon
of control.
baller, like depressive kind of angry
manic,
baller,
manic
yeah.
depressive baller.
Yeah.
But I also don't advocate
Dan,
for.
I gotta say, you and Nova, I've just met her, but I've known you for a long time. You guys are both some real manic depressive ballers.
Thanks, man. It's true.
but anyways,
Quentin Crisp said in a suicide note, you should never take anybody with you. You should like be classy about it. Like don't say like, oh, I blame that person. Like you leave it alone.
I'm trying to
That's
figure
for
out.
all you suicide note writers out there. It's a little
Not if it's a
suicide
joke.
note.
Remember that
Quentin
tonight.
Crisp.
Some jokes are funny because they go too far. Like, I'm going to put you on my suicide note. But it has to be
Yeah.
the time and the place. Like, Harmontown is the time and the place because
Yeah.
that's the way that the show is.
And I have a rich tradition of perfectly walking the tightrope. I never.
Yeah, everyone loves it.
I've never faltered.
I mean, yeah, with the honesty thing, it's less honesty, specifically that word. The word is more authenticity, like, and like genuineness or whatever, of like, you just come out here and be yourself. You're not like, okay, this is like, I don't know. I've never really.
So then if that person is going through a crisis where they're like, who the fuck am I? Then it's like things start to get a little bit Brechtian. To borrow
Brechtian
a
stuff.
phrase that I heard a college student once say.
I love Brecht's
I
work.
hardly
It's
know
great.
what it means. But you know, like it's like, oh shit, like where that's the thing. Like oh hey, the podcast is about me figuring out what the podcast is, and then you're like, well, that and 50 cents will get me a Snickers.
I mean, I've never like not listened to an episode because you're in a bad mood, but like.
So I'm dating myself.
9/11,
50 cents once bought you a Snickers.
That and a handful of shit will fill one hand.